private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu on the line. Counsel, good evening to you. I'm grateful for your company on 505 tonight. I'm sure that you heard what the Chief Justice talked about 2 hours ago, and currently, few minutes ago, what the government spokesperson also talked about. Let me start from the Chief Justice delivery. What's your initial reaction to that?
Well, what you should say is that it is advocacy, but it appears to go beyond what the Supreme Court has sanctioned in the Justice Derry versus Tiger PI case, and also in the Frank Ejesu case. So, put differently, the Supreme Court has said that when the proceedings are pending, we should not do anything, comment or disclose the contents of the petition, etc. So the Supreme Court has been very clear on that in the Frank Ejesu case and the Justice Derry case. So, and even in the Justice Derry versus Anas Tiger PI case, the Supreme Court is like things happen, the committee can refer the person who does the disclosures, etc., to the High Court for contempt of court.
I see. Well, for the few things that the suspended Chief Justice talked about, one, she says that thorough search on her body. She says that no Chief Justice or no person under the judiciary have gone through that. She thinks that it was a clear indication of some intimidation. She talked about the venue, that is the Edu Lodge. The choice of venue for the hearing was intended to intimidate her. Again, the committee refused to give her copies of the petition, and the prima facie, well, she said that what the president, what she got might be different from what the committee also had. Per this delivery that she gave, do you think that Madam Chief Justice has a point where she talked about the fact that she's not been given the copies of the petition?
I'm not too clear on that. That the copies that were given to her may be different from what the president has. I'm not too clear. Because what the president received is what the president would give. So this one, I to be honest, it's a bit confusing. Because what the president has received is what he would give. I don't know. So let's say I make that part. So I don't want to go further on it and say something that prejudices the case, or say something that also prejudices the presidency. But what is clear to me is that what the president has received is what the president would give the respondent to the petition. That's the person against whom the allegations have been made.
Are there violations in in the committee's work so far? Because that has to do with what the Chief Justice talked about, the suspended Chief Justice. Sorry, she said that everything that happened during the committee was clear violations of the 1992 constitutions. From where you sit, do you see clear violations from that?
No, I don't have enough basis to say that the committee is in violation of the constitution. I don't have enough basis. So it's all about evidence. So you see, the Chief Justice has said something, but we haven't heard from the committee. So once you haven't heard from the committee, you have to hasten slowly and reserve judgment. Otherwise, you go and base an opinion on a one-sided view, we may get trouble. It's not every time that you can use a one-sided view to, deal with such matters.
In one of the petitions, it was indicated about her traveling expenses. Well, she traveled with her husband, and in one of the visits as well, she traveled with her daughter, and that is part of the conditions of service she's supposed to enjoy as a Chief Justice. Again, in the other petition that has to do with the Shining Star petition, the CJ says that per her checks, that Shining Star do not exist. Per her checks, is that enough ground to quash that petition before the committee?
Once again, no. we haven't heard from the other side. It's not always that the person petitioning must be somebody registered at Registrar General. No, it can also be a private individual. So I think we should hasten slowly. We cannot give a concrete and definite, determination without all the evidence on the table.
Well, she challenged several times at the courts. What do you suggest she should do again? Because she says that she'll go to the court again. But she's been most of the petitions to the courts have been ruled out. What do you suggest she should do? Because she said that she's not going to resign or retire at the moment.
Yes, actually, the Constitution, or let's say the interpretation of the cases, the Justice Zeri case and also Justice Amwa case, the Supreme Court is saying once the proceedings have begun, you cannot resign to stop the proceedings. Of course, the Supreme Court can look at the matter and then change its decision. But for now, they say you cannot resign to stop the process. Right, and so if she says she will go to court, please, the Chief Justice, that's Justice Torkornoo, is a citizen, so she's allowed to approach the court anytime she's not happy about anything that's going on in the proceedings.
What will be the effect on the judicial system if she is being removed? Because she indicated clearly that the process will affect a commissioner's independent bodies, including justices of the Supreme Court.
Well, it's early days yet. So as I've said, all these things she said, there is also the other side. We have to be careful not to run ahead of ourselves and base our decisions only on what Chief Justice Torkornoo said. No, we have to reserve judgment. When we hear all the evidence and the committee through cross-examination, etc., then we can make definite conclusions. But right now, it's very dangerous. We'll be running ahead of ourselves to make definite conclusions when the proceedings haven't been completed. We have not had cross-examinations. We have not had the committees or read the committee's rulings, etc. Yes.
But the committee refusing to acknowledge her lawyer, just like she indicated during the encounter, is that a right thing to do? Because she is worried about the fact that the committee refused to acknowledge her lawyer while she was away.
No, this whole thing, like I said, let's be careful. The Supreme Court is very clear that we should not discuss the proceedings whilst the proceedings are still pending. When the proceedings close, we can do so. But right now, yes, some people can decide to discuss, but they run the risk of contempt. Even if no contempt is filed in the High Court, if I were to do so, tomorrow, people will read such stories to me that you, Kpebu, this case was pending, they hadn't finished, and you were running commentary on the merits and things that were happening day to day in the proceedings. So let's hold our horses.
Okay. Well, Counsel, thank you so much. Well, let's hold on for here. So that's a private legal practitioner, Martin Kpebu. So if you've not heard what the Chief Justice talked about, well, she said that she's not resigning, she's not retiring anytime soon. Take a listen.
To an ill-motivated process. I have also received threats and veiled threats to the effect that if I fail to resign or retire voluntarily, I will be made to suffer some harm or the other. I've also heard commentaries in the media about how this process was born out of a stated political agenda to remove me and control the judiciary, and that it is a political effort that can only result in an outcome that was process was born out of a stated political, and that it is a political effort that can only be made to suffer some harm or the other. I've also heard commentaries in the media about how this process was born out of a stated political agenda to remove me and control the judiciary, and that it is a political effort that can only result in an outcome that was decided long before it started. To speak up concerning anything that is extremely wrong with the administration of justice in this country. This is what I do every day. The situation I have been confronted with has shown me a model of injustice that I would never have thought possible if I had not been exposed to it. This is why, despite great personal discomfort, I have decided to marshal every effort in law and leadership to answer to this situation. Again, resigning or retiring while Article 146 proceedings are being conducted to remove a judge is not an option any judge or public official can even have. There is a decided case on the matter by the Supreme Court.
So that's the suspended Chief Justice